Guys, welcome to Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. It is too quiet, what you say. It's a little too quiet with pretty much the election of all time, the greatest election of all time happening. You've had a tremendous amount of celebrities come forward that have joined together to campaign for Harris Walls, but one unlikely has came forward, and it's Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton's aide, infamous, I guess we should say. She's decided to get into the campaign for Harris Walls. Now, to me, it's weird. It's weird she's backing in because I thought the Democrats had left a bad taste in her mouth. Anyway, Donald Trump pledges in his second presidential term to prioritize development, production of flying cars. Man, I'm excited for that. I'm Back to the Future, when I was growing up, and I'm happy to see that. That's something I can get behind. But, Don, we need hoverboards as well. Real ones, that float, before I get too old and I can't use them. Okay. So anyway, let's get some serious stuff now. More money for Ukraine. Not that we haven't given them enough, but right before the election, they decided to send an additional $425 million in military aid to Ukraine. Now, this is not the $450 million that they gave during the hurricane that people were devastated in North Carolina that only got $750 home loan to fix their home. But $450 million then, now $425 million right before election, they decided to sneak that in. Now, I know that the squirrel peanut has pretty much blown up your news feed. It's blown up your news feed. Everyone's talking about it. Every conservative influencer making a video about it. So I'm not going to talk too much to the subject, but essentially a guy, he was an OnlyFans guy, by the way. I found that out. He did OnlyFans. He called himself Squirrel Daddy. I'm not sure if he used the squirrel in the OnlyFans or not, but whatever. But anyway, a SWAT team essentially raided his house and killed his pet squirrel. Okay. Horrible, horrible. But this goes back to something I always talk about, anarcho-tyranny, where the government demonizes regular citizens, the opposition, meanwhile allowing criminals. Everyone else has shown this. We have young men breaking into the mall in the middle of the day, taking jewelry. We have Trende Arawa taking over apartment buildings and charging those people rent to live there. We have all kinds of illegal aliens committing crimes. All of that is okay. Same thing like when you look back to 2020 and the rioting, the burning of cities, all that's okay. But as soon as you defend yourself, you go to jail or what have you. And so they thought, this is a threat to society, this squirrel, and they're going to raid. Now, again, this is just another instance where they're demonizing everyday Americans for very minor things. You might make a Facebook post and you get a no-knock grade. This is where we're at in this country because it has gone that far. Now, talking about the election, we're first off, we have deployed troops on various bases saying that they cannot attain a ballot to even vote. And many Republican congressmen have come forward trying to alleviate that. Lloyd also said it's not a problem. But the thing is it sounds fishy because a lot of servicemen and women identify in a more of a patriotic ideology mentality. Now you have your woke ones in there too, but a lot of them do. A lot of them are patriotic Americans. That's why they're serving the country. And wouldn't it be beneficial for them not to be able to vote? A lot of conservatives, though, if you look over your social media, look over YouTube, Instagram, they're like, man, we got this in the bag. It's in the bag. Don's up and he was going to be elected president. But if that happens, there could be so many things that could prevent this from happening. It could even be that he gets elected and we have civil unrest, absolute chaos in the street from the leftists with TDS. Man, I wanted to show some videos on here today, but the language was so bad. I didn't want to show it. But these people with Trump derangement syndrome, I mean, people are absolutely losing their minds. They're losing their minds over this stuff. Now, you hear so many patriots talking about they're not worried about leftist violence. Oh, yeah? Yeah? What happened in the streets in 2020? Businesses, people getting shot, destroying cities. Meanwhile, the same thing going back to anarcho-tyranny, Democrats of all levels not only allowed it, but backed it. You even had Kamala Harris raising money to get these criminals out on bail, out of jail. You had celebrities doing it like Ben Stiller and so on. Now, you got to remember too, the left, Kamala, everyone, the media has been painting Trump as a fascist dictator to the likes of Hitler in recent weeks. So what are you going to expect if he does win? I would say probably a lot of violence because people absolutely have lost their minds with this stuff. But there are rumors. There's rumors of Democrats that are 100% positive, confident in a Kamala victory. They're confident about it right now. And they're saying, don't believe the polls. What you read, any of this, we have it in the back. So much so, Kamala's already 100% staffed with her transition team, all made up of Obama former staff, by the way, that plan to take office. They say they have it in the bag. Now, do you believe if Trump wins, they'll just accept the loss and go peacefully in the night? That's what I'm asking. Do you see what has happened over the past few years in this country? Do you think if he wins, they're just going to go peacefully in the night? They just say, yeah, you know, he won. We'll try again in a few years. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Also, remember this. I don't think many people or anyone I've even heard talking about this, that his sentencing was delayed for his felony convictions until after the elections. Now, they're scheduled for November 26th, and that's whether he wins or loses the presidential election. So we could look to see something being pulled at that moment. You know, sentencing a former president or a president-elect has never happened before in American history. So that means it's no man's land. It's unknown territory, and there's no playbook and there's no rules to this. So I would warn you not to be surprised of anything this week. Don't be surprised of anything you see, up and including to World War III. Who knows? Cyber attacks, I talked about this a few weeks ago. They're saying that there could be some kind of cyber event, some grid down event this week. Now, the former top official, Manhattan District Attorney, says if he loses the election, I think he gets sentenced and he's going to go to prison. Now, if Trump is sentenced under New York law, he would be taken into custody immediately. Convicted felons are housed at New York's most notorious city jail, Rikers Island. I'm sure many of you heard that. It's on a lot of movies. Somewhere you don't want to go. Anyway, those are people that serve less than 1 year. But for longer sentences, they're often housed temporarily at Rikers Island until they're transferred to the prison they're assigned to serve their longer sentence. Now, Trump said this, listen to him.
Game, and I'm the only one that talks about it because everyone's afraid to damn talk about it. And then they accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. These are conspiracy, and they want to lock you up. They want to put you in jail. The ones that should be locked up are the ones that cheat on these horrible elections that we go through in our country. And I don't know what's going to happen, but for future elections, I won't be even a part of it. But you ought to damn well go to paper ballots. You ought to go to voter ID. And you ought to have the election over by 9 o'clock. I'm hearing now they're going to take weeks. Can you imagine? They spend all this money on machines, and they're going to say, we may take an extra 12 days to determine. And what do you think happens during that 12 days? What do you think happens? These elections have to be decided by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Tuesday night.
You heard him. They're saying it's going to take 12 days in some locations, and that's not a lie. So we probably will not hear anything this week. But like he said, why do you think they're going to do something like that? Why do you think they're going to wait that long? But what if, regardless if he wins or loses, Joe steps down in the coming weeks and hands the reins to Kamala? She serves out term as president. Maybe the left then cooks up something for him that he cannot be inaugurated because he's sentenced to prison. We've heard Jamie Raskins talk about lots of things that aren't going to certify the election, as well as other Democrats. Maybe there's another assassin attempt. World War III, like I mentioned earlier. We're knocking at the door of that. I probably should have covered that with the Iran warning tonight. Martial law. And again, I don't see them going peacefully in the night. They're already prepositioning themselves for martial law. We saw the video I did the other day about the mass casualty drill. And then we have the U.S. is bracing for civil unrest around the election, but just how high is the risk? If you search this on whatever domain you want, you're going to see a gazillion articles talking about civil unrest this week. We go into predictive programming like we've talked about time and time again. J6, there were many operatives there, instigators, right? From the various three-letter agencies. Don't know how far deep it goes. But could they be conducting some kind of predictive programming? They did for J6 as well, if you recall. National Guard troops on standby in Washington State, Oregon, Nevada as a precaution for potential election unrest. And if you go look at any of these various articles, this was not in this article, this is in another one, why it matters. Democrats in particular see it as virtually inevitable that Trump will challenge the election results if he loses, raising the specter of nationwide civil unrest or even a repeat of a J6 attack. So in this article, they're already predicting that he will lose and he will challenge the results. Again, predictive programming. And then we have this. Biden admin authorizes mass overtime to process Haitian migrants before Inauguration Day, agent says. There was a whistleblower, but the Biden-Harris administration has authorized massive overtime so Department of Homeland Security agents can grant temporary status to as many illegal immigrants as possible. Illegals from Haiti, Lebanon, and Venezuela, where Trinidad comes from. And we have all this around election week. Coincidence? I think not. I think nothing should be coincidental to you anymore. I think it's going to be a rocky week, and we're not going to see the election results. And I would not count your eggs before they hatch, guys. Be prepared, be frosty, strapped and dangerous. Always have a plan, and you never know what's going to happen. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. Make sure you have food. You need that stuff all the time. You never know when danger is going to occur. But this is a rocky week. Even the stock market is trembling right now based on the results of the election or the outcome. Bakla, thank you. Cadet McQueen, thank you. Guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. I wanted to share this information. And again, hopefully everything goes peachy keen. However, I don't foresee it that way. I don't think they're going to go peacefully in the night, guys. The amount of destruction they have instituted on this country in the past 3 years, they're not going to let that come undone. I just don't see it. Anyway, guys, please like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here. And remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous, my friends. Take care.